we have had our members of parliament in a very significant way. The vast majority of them seriously let us down in the House of Commons. We expect them to perform well. We expect them to do their job, and they have failed us. These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number three, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number four, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. Hi, Doug Sharpe, host of the National Leadership Briefing, and this is the Midweek Touchpoint. Well, I had a really long list to consider this week before I decided what I was going to spend my next 7 minutes with you talking about. That was until last night. Now, last night, as it turns out, my nephew, who's a great kid, just finished high school. He's so excited because he's going to work all summer, and his plan was that he was going to spend time with his friends, and then he was going to rush off to Bible college in the fall. He kind of had his plan all laid out. Well, last night his plan took a bit of a hit because he got taken to the hospital where he had his appendix removed on the spot. Apparently it needed to come out right away. Now he's fine, and we confirmed that, but I want to tell you something about my nephew. And that is, when I heard that he was going to have this challenge, this deviation from his plan, my very first reaction, that is, of course, after wanting to make sure he's fine and he's okay and just double checking, was I was excited to know that he was having this experience. I was actually going, wait a second. Now, this is very, very interesting because he had this plan. Now he's hitting some resistance. His plan got changed, and he's got to learn some new skills here. And that is how to have your plan changed and how to deviate from your plan and how it is that you react and respond when these kinds of things pop up in your life. Now, this experience that my nephew had also came on the tail of another experience he had not that long ago, just a short time, maybe a month and a bit ago, where he had an accident with a friend with an airsoft gun, and a projectile actually hit him in the eye and did some damage to one of his eyes. And he's got to have some surgery to have that repaired as well. So this is a young man who's actually got, really excited about his life. He's got all the pieces in place, but all of a sudden these things happen. Now, why am I telling you all of this about my nephew? Well, because I want you to know something about me and my response to what I see in his life. Is as soon as I see that, like I say, I was actually kind of excited because I know he's going to be learning these new life skills. And I know he's going to be learning how to respond to these challenges in his life, because it's not what happens to you. It's how it is that you respond. This is what I believe. So this is relevant this week because we have had our members of parliament in a very significant way. The vast majority of them seriously let us down in the House of Commons. We expect them to perform well. We expect them to do their job, and they have failed us. I can give you 3 examples right now. They failed to support the bill that would ban sex-selective abortion. The majority of them voted the bill down at second reading, and they couldn't even stand up for defense of girls in the womb, preborn girls in the womb. They couldn't even stand up for that. So that's a big letdown. That's a big letdown for us. The second one is that they have that so-called conversion therapy bill. That's Bill C6. This is actually the bill that I told you about that is in fact not truly a piece of legislation, but rather a political weapon. Then this is a weapon that was forged in the foundry of the Liberal Party of Canada, and they entered it into the House of Commons as if it was just a piece of legislation. And very soon after, we found out it was not, because at third reading, the majority of parliamentarians voted that bill through to the Senate. Now, again, very disappointing to see something that is not going to do what it was supposed to do. As a matter of fact, it contradicted the respect that we're supposed to have for parents and their right to have open and free conversations with their children about gender and sexuality. It certainly disrespected and they did not defend our right of belief and freedom of religion as people of faith with regard to gender and sexuality. And finally, we think it actually potentially is going to harm members of the LGBTQ community. So that, again, bad choice, bad decision. Members of Parliament let us down. We also had another bill, Bill C-10, a bill that seriously was going to inhibit and limit our freedom of speech here in Canada on the road ahead. The majority of parliamentarians voted that bill through. So we have this significant list of all of these terrible things that occurred. And what does Doug Sharpe do? Well, what does Doug Sharpe always do? He goes, wait a second. If we're coming up against this kind of resistance, we have an opportunity to respond in any number of ways. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you to respond this way. And that is to allow me on the road ahead to show you and share with you the voting records of all of our members of Parliament. We're coming up to a federal election just around the corner, and it's going to be really important for us to know the minds and hearts of those who we have elected to serve us in civil government. And when we just see this list of these bills that have been passed and voted on in the House of Commons, believe me, it's really clear as to who it is in the House of Commons that shares our views and values and who does not. And so you'll know very easily at election time who it is that you should be supporting and who you might just want to take a pass on supporting. So these are the things that you can gather from the bad events in our lives, one of which is, like I say, this advantage that we're going to have on the road ahead. By the way, my nephew is great. He's going to have his eye surgery to get his eye repaired. He's going to recover from the hospital, and he's going to go off to Bible college. He's going to have a fantastic life. But in the short term, he just hit a couple of bumps on the road. And you and I are going to hit a couple of bumps on the road as well on the road ahead. But we're going to capitalize on every opportunity. We're going to find those opportunities, even if they're buried under a few challenges. If we have to go under that, we'll go get them. We'll find them and we'll capitalize on them. But anyway, thank you so much for letting me share that with you this week. Thanks so much for please feel free to pray for my nephew if you would on the road ahead. I know he's a good kid and he would welcome your prayers. And I thank you so much for your time today. Now, until we see you again, and in the meantime, God bless you, God bless your family, and may God continue to bless this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.